What are the dangerous costs of living without purpose? So I've done this in my own life and I've coached loads and loads of people on this over like 20 years. And I think the dangers of having no meaning in your life, or no purpose more specifically, are much bigger than people think. And they go across more areas than people think. Maybe you're feeling a bit lost, and that is understandable. Our society doesn't really give a sense of purpose, particularly to young men. But you might be thinking, you know what, it doesn't really matter. I've still got a nice life. I'll play some computer games or hang out. It'll be fine. Yeah, bad news. So the impact of not having meaning, and the first thing I'd say is it doesn't have to be black and white. You might be thinking, it might sound like, oh, you have to know the meaning of life or you're screwed. Well, not really. You can have more meaning. You can have more purpose. You can be leaning towards purpose and meaning. You can be actively finding purpose and meaning. There's an ongoing inquiry. I find in my own life, I have it for a bit and it's kind of there, and then it's like, it gets a bit lost and I start to feel off, and then I get back to it. Or I might wake up one day and find myself miles off and just, things are going wrong, there's all kinds of problems. It's more like a radar, like in Aliens, where they've got that machine. It's like beep, 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 when the aliens get closer. It's like that, okay? I might show my age here. I watch Aliens on VHS. Fucking hell, I'm old. All right, so why is it disastrous to be completely off of this, to not at least be trying to find it? Health. Big one. I think we're wired to actually need a sense of meaning in our life, and when that's not present, we're actually ill. Now, there's a direct route to that, but if that sounds too woo-woo, the other big one is when we don't have meaning, we pursue pleasure. We become hedonistic and we become addicted to things. This inevitably leads to people being ill. I think this illness can be from the sort of subtle spiritual things being a bit off, through to cancer, through to really intense things. And maybe there's less like hard evidence base for that. I've definitely seen that in my own life and with people I work with. And if you don't believe any of that, then just pursuing hedonism and addictive pleasures, it doesn't end well health-wise. This is often a sort of, sometimes it just shows up as a feeling of being alive. I mean, that's one of the things I'm looking for when I'm on purpose. Like this video, I've got energy to make it. It's actually the end of a long day. The sun's going down, but I've got an enthusiasm. I've got an energy to make it. That's what I'm looking for. Or sometimes it's more like a sense of sort of deep ease in the body. It's like, yeah, this makes sense. I do want to have kids. Like, this makes sense. There's a relaxation that comes with that. So there's two things, the relaxation and the excitement. So if we don't have purpose, you don't have either of those. So you have tension, agitation, and just like a lethargy, like dragging yourself out of bed. I remember when I didn't have such a sense of purpose. Like Sunday night was just a depressing nightmare, yeah? And this does go right up to the level of severe mental health issues like anxiety and depression. I think aren't really mental health in terms of like thinking strategies or biochemistry. I mean, yeah, that's involved, but more fundamentally, it's like anxiety. What the hell am I doing in my life? What's the point in all this? Depression, what's the point in all this? So of course people are anxious and depressed now if they don't have a sense of meaning. Okay, next set of impacts that might not be obvious. Interpersonal, let's go with work and romance. So in a work sense, if you don't feel on purpose with what you're doing, you clock in. Aside from the fact it's just a pain in the ass, work is work, it's a drag. Like, I don't have that feeling when I'm teaching or making videos. I do not have that feeling. So it's like, that whole you'll never work again in your life. It's not quite that because there's always chores, but it's quite like that a lot of the time. Like 2/3 of your work doesn't actually feel like a job, which is brilliant, right? But more than that, other people pick up on it. I remember years ago, someone who didn't even like me said, "Mark, I don't like you, but I can see that you love what you do." I was a bit taken aback by the first bit, but I thought it's very honest feedback. And it's compelling to people. I asked a salesman actually years ago, I said, what's the best thing for sales? And he said, well, just believing in the product. Like having a good product you actually think is good that you can sell. He said that's way better than having some, games and tricks and techniques. Same with leadership. If you're going to be a leader, you better believe in what you do. You better have a sense of purpose. Like ultimately, no one wants to follow a leader who's like, we can increase shareholder value. Why would I give my life to that, my energy to that? Or someone who, egoic leaders who are just all about the self-aggrandizement. The leader who's like, follow me because I'm great and I want everyone to think I'm great. And I've slipped into that before, when I've led projects. Like I started charity in Ukraine, and sometimes I was on the right side of it and I was doing it for the right reasons. I had something to contribute, some of my skills I thought would be helpful. it's a good thing, you know? And other times it's more about me. It's like, look at me on my socials. Aren't I the hero? Aren't I doing such a brave thing? And when I did that, people felt it. And some days I would swing. Unless you're a saint, it's going to be about percentages, spending more time on the sort of really following purpose than being egoic. And an egoic leader who doesn't have that bigger why, Simon Sinek is a guy who looks at that a lot. An egoic leader, ultimately, people sniff it out and then they don't want to follow it, which is understandable. Next relational part. Girls. Who likes girls? All right. Do you like women? Do you want a good woman? You need to be on purpose. Like, purpose makes you more attractive. Now, in my life, up till 27, I was lost. I didn't have a sense of purpose. Young, relatively fit. I did martial arts, but I just didn't have that sense of direction. David Data talks about this. Women want to know where the train is going. They're like, I want to jump on the train. You're the train, right? Is the train going somewhere? People often think women just want money or status, and yeah, that is attractive to them. But the real thing that's attractive to them is you're going somewhere. Now, I know this because when I got that sense of purpose, I didn't have money, didn't have status, hadn't achieved anything. But as soon as I had that, the girlfriends I was getting just bam, like jumped up a level. Yeah, like good women respond to that. Now, if you've got just money and status, bad women will respond to that, the gold diggers and the like, you know, the ones that want clout or money. If you've got physical looks, certain amount of women will respond to that, at least in sort of short-term encounters. But women who are really wanting partnership, I mean, they're looking at your ethics, and you're going to be a good dad, you're a good man, all that stuff. But a big thing they feel, then they can't even put their name on it. They feel it in their bones. You're going somewhere, and they love that shit. They love it, and you can't fake that. Yeah, all the pickup artists trying to pretend to be like they're going somewhere. I just don't think it works very well. So, yeah, I say a big cost of not having purpose is you'll just attract bad women. All right, what else? So we've got this sort of subtle feeling of wasting your life, right? There's a subtle, unpleasant quality to that. There's the way you numb yourself and have to cope with the hardships of life without meaning or purpose, with hedonism leading to addictions. I've been alcoholic. I know what that's like. You know, a big part of Alcoholics Anonymous is having a higher power, having something bigger to serve. It's a massive part of it. So it's not just you and your little scared ego in the world, terrified. We looked at health, looked at relationships. I think the big one is, do you want to regret your life? You imagine at the end of your life, looking back and going, what was I doing that for? What was the point? Right now I'm 46, so I'm at least half dead, right? Statistically, chances of me living to, 92? Not great. My dad died at 80, my granddad at 72. I mean, even with good health care, I take care of myself. I'm half dead. And even now I look back and go, God, I wasted some time. I've done some stuff, some projects, written some books, creative stuff, helped people, but I still go, God, I wasted a lot of time. And I can't imagine what it'd be like to be 90 and me dying in a hospital bed. Probably not surrounded by people that love you, because if you're not fully alive, you're probably not in those deep relationships. But let's say even you're surrounded by people that love you. They said if you're off purpose, it's not that likely. And going, what was that all for? What was the point in that? And that's not a situation I want to end up in. You know, that lights a fire under my arse, even as a sort of comfortable middle-aged man. I go, you know what? It keeps me hungry. It keeps me wanting to do something. And that might be an achievement, right? For some people, it is, I don't know, I've done 700 podcasts, right? A big thing, a big conference we did in the past. But other times, it's just like having good friendships. Like in 5 minutes' time, I'm talking to my best mate. I've known him since I was 3 years old. For me, having a sense of purpose aligns me to like real relationships. It aligns me to treating people well, right? You got to be careful, because some people with purpose abuse everyone around them because they've got an excuse. But I think if you're really aligned with purpose and meaning at a deeper level, there's that, I'm going to be ethical. I'm going to live my life in a way I don't regret. But I think of things I did off purpose, like the womanizing I did when I was younger, the drinking and drugging. I look back on, I'm not proud of any of that. It's not something I would recommend to a son. It's not something I boast about. And there is genuine regret there. And that regret would be so much more had I not at least had some sense of purpose in my life. I think ultimately, some of us, not having a purpose will kill us. I remember when I was like 26, 27, I was fully alcoholic by that point. I just was doing odd jobs, bumming around, womanizing. And I was like, I knew it wasn't satisfying. It was, the alcohol was starting to not work. It was starting to taste like ashes in my mouth. It was starting to be hollow. And I said to myself, well, I'm killing myself slowly here. I might as well do it faster. Yeah, don't recommend that. I said to myself, I've got to get a sense of purpose. For me, it's about surviving. So yeah, I think for everyone, it's about thriving. But if it's about survival for you, well, fucking one, good luck. Well, two, welcome. You're in the right place. Welcome to this channel. Hope I can help you out a little bit.